1961 to 1967. So that's now 6 years, right? They run the country at that time. Now, between that 6 years, they, well, before they go to the analysis of that, now that time they rule, and after 1967, when they call the election, where that election then have been a highly contested election between the SLPP and the APC, and in that election they began for tie, but the people that were being break that tie, they have been two paramount chiefs, them one Nongowa Chief Kutubu, Paramount Chief Kutubu Kasamba, and the other one Atayama when have been Paramount Chief Ellen Brewer. Now they all two began for decisive that they both vote on the side of the APC, and that will automatically make the APC became the winner in that election. But when APC become a winner in that election, they're not getting government. But anyway, SLPP in term of office been done in 1967 after that election. So from that time when I be 6 years, where SLPP ruled the country from 1961 to 1967, it not come back in power until 1996. Now SLPP take power again. And when SLPP take power in 1996, when I been President Ahmad Tijan Kaba, now be the winner in that election. A rule for 11 years. A rule up to 2007, right? That now 11 years the SLPP began for rule. So if you add 6 years to 11 years, then 17 years. So from 1961 to 1967, 6 years. From 1996 to 2007, 11 years. So 6 plus 11, 17 years. So from the time when Salon don't get independence all the way to the time where we talk to now today, the SLPP as a political party don't rule Sierra Leone for 17 years, right? Okay, now let us take a look at the APC, the All People's Congress. Now, just like I would explain, the All People's Congress began to take over the reins of governance in the country in 1968, because when the APC win that election in 1967, they not been take the power give Shaka Stephen right away, because military coups that be happen in between. The first military coup have been by Brigadier David Lansana. They get for overthrow and arrest some people then, and then of course himself left the Andrew Johnson Smith can overthrow him. The Andrew Johnson Smith himself left the junior officers from the army, they self can overthrow him. So they let that overthrow take up to a year. They not hand over government to Shaka Stephen. But finally, at the time, the Governor General of the country by then began for decide say, they give the country back to Shaka Stephen, because now in the win inside the 1967 election. So now in they give power to Shaka Stephen in 1968. So from where Shaka Stephen and the All People's Congress then take the power in 1968, they not return the power until where the military then can pull them come out in 1992. Right? That now 24 years from 1968 to 1992. If you count them, now 24 years. Okay, and then after that, 2007, APC win election again at Sierra Leone. Now we give them the government. So when they give the government to the APC rule 5 years, and then it win again. And again for continue for rule until March 7, 2018. So if you put all together, it gets for be 10 years. So 24 plus 10, now 34 years. So APC from 1961, we will get independence in Sierra Leone until 2017, or let us say 2018, when I then get for handover officially. APC as a political party don't rule Sierra Leone for 34 years. All right. So now we don't know the numbers then. So now let us go back and take a look at each of the political parties there and see the things then what they do in Sierra Leone. All right, because we want to set the record straight, because people that can look at things then with sentiment, they're not going to look deep into waiting them two political parties they do, then just they combine them, then compare them, they put them all two inside one category. And we disagree with that. So now that make we bring this coverage here to now. Okay, so let us start with the SLPP, when are the first political party will take over the reins of governance in Sierra Leone. Between 1961 to 1967, what did SLPP do? In the first place, SLPP now been the political party this way been in existence 10 years before they even get independence. So SLPP na the political party this way been get for lead the Sierra Leonean delegation for go to Lancaster House in London for able for put we case as a country all man of the country be one independence, but now SLPP lead the delegation for put we case across to the British government, including the Queen of England, put we case across to them for say we are now matured enough, we are now educated enough, we get the experience, we get the skill, we're able for take care of ourselves. So the British people then will not give with government back, right? So now SLPP begin for lead that delegation for do that. And also now SLPP been get for lead the writing of the very first constitution of Sierra Leone. SLPP as a political party now lead that one day for write the very first constitution of Sierra Leone. All right, okay. And so when SLPP don't do that one day, now they don't come, we don't get independence, they don't give the government. So Sir Miti Magai now between Sir Miti Magai and Sir Albert Magai for that 6 years now then 10 a day where we all know for say Sierra Leone be the export to us, we get plenty yes in the country, we the eat we not the done them, we export them outside of the country. Now then 10 the whole they export cocoa, coffee, piassava, palm kernel, and of course now then 10 the way even the minerals that will be get at the country be the benefit with, you know. Now then 10 the way they're able for establish teacher training colleges now all the 4 regions in the country. We get the McKinney Teachers College in McKinney, we get the Bow Teachers College in Abo, we get the Bunubu Teachers College na Bunubu, and of course we get the Freetown Teachers College in Freetown. Now then they of course they established the Mitimagai Teachers College as well. Now so education they pay priority to her. Now then they where people that they go school, they not they pay school fees safe. You know, and then they eat na school. The beginning they eat na school. Me say self I eat na school then they. I mean I not be there alive then they, but me self come it up and small anyway. But so now during that 10 day back where the SLPP began for establish then government hospitals there, you know, like Connaught Hospital, like Bow Government Hospital, you know, the Nixon Memorial Methodist Hospital, na Shebema, na McKinney, all the hospitals there. Now then 10 day where they began for establish then 10 day, the agriculture be the boom, the economy be the boom. Now then 10 day where the pound sterling, I mean where the pound will be getting our country, it been value past even the pound sterling and the dollar. You know, Sierra Leone currency be very much valuable and identity. Now then 10 and the way the railway they run, where they go collect produce in the up country, you know, all the way to Penembu, now the eastern province, a Brancam, all the way na Freetown, people plenty produce within the country, people that be they eat healthy food. So Sierra Leoneans they be very healthy. Now then 10 the way SLPP they na power, now then 10 they be they happen na the country, right? So this now for will just able for set the record straight for let people they understand. Okay, so where the SLPP don't left, it not come back na power till until 1996. And where it kind of power waiting it do again. But before they even come to that, let's check on APC after where APC don't take power in 1967. APC don't take power in 1968. And then win the election 1967, and then take power 1968 because at that time they would give power back to Shaka Stevens. And when Shaka Stevens don't take power in 1968, instead they miss him because of other coups that really happen. But then one of the ways that way the APC be get for rule now they be the rule by political intimidation. Anybody where you know they part of APC, this now true. You know people that way they live then and they go accept her for say this not true. Anybody where you know to be member of APC, where APC they're able to understand say you know to member, you belong to the other political party, then they intimidate you, then they bring violence against you if possible, then they burn you oaths, then they do all kinds of things to you. And then so they're able to do that when they take into the 1973 election. The 1973 election was marred by violence, by intimidation. Now that's APC will do in the country. Then the same thing I then do inside the 1975 election. The same thing because 1974 then gets a voting and then win the majority. In fact, they do until to the extent that where the SLPP began for file a petition against the election, but SLPP not be win. So 1975 political violence be there back in the country. So that political violence continued until 1978, where APC don't know now say they don't get enough majority na parliament, na dem pass a law na parliament, they pass a bill na parliament for say Sierra Leone now they run under a one-party state. And wetin that mean? That means they don't talk say any other person when you born as Sierra Leone, you not get right, you not get you natural right for form any other political party and exist. If you form any other political party, you are against the state of the country, then go na treason, then go kill you. Right? So they make all man quiet, all man go underground. So now only APC with the rule. Now, under that one party state, what did APC do? APC then directly interfere into the works of the civil service and the judicial system. Now, family, when I need for understand wetin civil service dey na country for. Every country get a civil service. Wetin civil service they do? Civil service na the administrative wing of every country, every governance system. The civil service, in fact, if we not get political head, we not get president, we not get vice president, something happen in a country, we not get them people then they when then they control how the country they go. The civil service go able for run the country completely without a president, because that is the professional wing of every country. But then when the APC take over, you know, but before they even go to the APC, the civil service they're supposed to operate, you know, independent of any political influence. They're supposed to work for the interest of the country. Now the country therefore put first. Now then one day, now then side and they will get like the permanent secretaries then. They're not supposed to work under any political influence. You know, therefore work with the politicians, but therefore work in the interest of the country. So if a politician don't direct them for do certain things, they will not they go in the right way. They are supposed to reject and advise the politician on which way they forgo when at the right way. But when a APC declare the one-party state now in the country, then directly interfere into the works of the civil service. Now the politicians then they tell the civil service how they for run the country, how they for operate. So now that make from that 1968 on to 2017 while they talk to you today, the civil service, everything what they do inside the civil service in Sierra Leone now is controlled by politicians. Not so they do the thing again at politicians that they control them, right? And then the other thing what they do back, they interfere directly into the affairs of the judicial system. You know, say the judicial system in the country under a democratic system. Well, democracy not be there, but a judicial system is supposed to be independent body. It's supposed to be independent of any political influence as well. Therefore, able to do their work without being afraid of politicians, without intimidation from politicians, or without directives from politicians. But then the APC, when they take over 1968, 1978, where they don't declare the one-party state in the country now then they tell the court system in the country, the judges, the lawyers, all them people that they way they man their affairs in the court, then they tell them waiting there for doing then court and then they tell them which decisions they for make over certain cases then. So you find out say justice not be there in the country again, and up to today we dey struggle with that big time. I mean plenty things not to go correctly in our way and na the country. So and then Shaka Stevie not stop and that after we don't declare the one-party state now, 10 years after that, in 1980, right? 1989, well actually 1978, 1980, not to 10 years. 1980, now it talks say INSEF go able for host the Organization of African Unity by then. When are the African Union right now? They call it African Union or the AU, right? It gather, you know, say now be the 27th meeting of the Organization of African Unity. It will say all other African presidents and other African presidents with their entourages, they get for amass themselves in one city for me to participate in that conference. So Shaka Stevens talk say in the hoster in 1980. And when you talk say they host something like that, you want for make like your city look clean, you want for make everything look sparkling clean, as if there is no problem, right? And so because of Shaka Stevens together ego, even though you know say Sierra Leone as a country not get enough money anymore for level able for host a big meeting like that one day, Shaka Stevens anyway went ahead. The small money will get in a bank, a corridor, everything, a put and pan, you know, fixing the street lights, then buildings, then paint all side fine, Freetown be fine for look. If anybody been there alive then 10 they would have been small beginning. But when you go Freetown then 1980, the way that OEU they happen, Freetown be so pretty. But then from where we don't get that Organization of African Unity meeting at Freetown, now from that time day where we economy don't batter. all the half money will be get all don't go down. Now from that time they now Sierra Leoneans then begin for suffer. Food not there for eat, money not there for buy clothes. Where you picking sick, mercy not there for men. Picking and people then begin for suffer na the country, right? People then begin for suffer na the country, and so that leads to a wide spread of corruption. Wusai will all be the area that they talk say Wusai you tie cow na day they eat. APC they talk this not to lie, this not fact. We all know that they say Wusai tie cow na day for it. So meaning that Wusai ever then put you get for go thief they whatever you go do for able for full up your own pocket and take care of yourself. Now that's you get for do. And up to today that corrupt practice they na every fabric of the country because they be done institute and continue for happen. So that kind political, trend they continue in the country until the extent where people they're not able for beer again. Now begin for a rumor for say some people they don't become so disgruntled that they want for go na bush and fight war. Will be the again small but will not be ever believe. Pass on March 23rd, 1991, we hear say one former corporal in the Sierra Leone army when have been 4 days Sebano Sanko, when have been a Nottingham. Now, in declare on BBC Focus on Africa for say it don't wage a civil war on Sierra Leone, and the reasons the way give was the exact reason as to what will they explain. Number one is say the APC they corrupt the mineral wealth of the country. Now they no more the olam. Then they don't take the country. They don't turn it into their own personal waiting self. Then selfish. Then greedy. All the excuses. Then they now give as a reason why they launch the civil war in the country. And we now all know say that 11-year brutal civil war we fought in Sierra Leone. They kill up to 55,000 Sierra Leoneans and up to 2 million Sierra Leoneans they begin to become displaced. Then go outside of the country. Most of them now go back to Sierra Leone. This now the United Nations Human Rights Watch now in report this 55,000 Sierra Leoneans were killed during the 11-year brutal civil war, and of course about 2 million Sierra Leoneans became displaced. Some became refugees in other countries. They never come, right? So then that the facts get for happen till family then died, then lost their property, then homes, then villages. All of that happened for 11 years. Of course, before it reached 11 years, 9 days Sojaman then come overthrow the APC in 1992. April 29, 1992, now they overthrow them. So now, let's look at APC from the time when they take power in 1968 all the way to 1992 when they overthrow them. Look at everything will happen. Now, all the catastrophe they also will explain. I don't know if anybody gets any single positive explanation where go able for tell for saying that this APC been do during their own time when they didn't power for that 24 years when a positive thing at Sierra Leone. I cannot imagine anyone. Maybe there is somebody out there who knows some of the good things that APC do, but me no know them, right? So that comparison where people that they make between the SLPP and the APC for saying they not don't do nothing for the country, that's where we are going. Okay, so now when they don't overthrow the APC, the military boys that don't overthrow the APC. Now the next time when SLPP come back in power, now in 1996, right? Night Yankaba win the election in the proportional elections. It come back in power, and when SLPP come in power, waiting be happen. There was still war in the country, but SLPP began to do everything humanly possible. They end that war day after 4 years, or I go say after 6 years. They're able to end that war because now been negotiation after negotiation after negotiation till they even overthrow the democratically elected government. President Kabine government go into exile in Guinea. They get for now ECOMO get for bring them come back. After that one day it still continue for talk peace, and of course peace finally come back na Sierra Leone. And when the peace don't come na Sierra Leone under the SLPP regime, now the SLPP, because everything be done better in the country. The first thing what SLPP do was to disarm the combatants them, demobilize them, and reintegrate them back into civil community. Because they be done in a bush for long. When you don't pull gun at the hand, you get for let them feel comfortable and all that, and then you bring them come back now, they mingle with the people there. So SLPP do that one day. And then of course most of the government institutions they be done better, like the Sierra Leone Army, the Sierra Leone Police, other government institutions there. So what did the SLPP do? They cried at the British government for making help we for retrain a brand new army. And of course we do that one day. And then of course then after that then cried at the British government again for making train with police. And of course, the SLPP do that one day again for men and train the police, right? We all know for say waiting at the talk not true. Then they re-establish government institutions there again. All the schools that were employed, SLPP able for give money to for men and refurbish them schools then they, and of course for 9 months where the pikin they be sit down and then they go school, they make the pikin all go back to school again and everything begin for go normal. Now SLPP do that one day for 11 years because it not be easy. The kind way Sierra Leone be battered for let you just kind of put them together, train the army, train the police, re-establish government institution, make all man get calm and peace. SLPP do that one day for 11 years. But before then, they finally hand over government back to the APC. The SLPP under the leadership of John Oponjo Benjamin and the Ministry of Finance, they don't negotiate with the one that always been giving money as loan where then debts be they pay with. They don't negotiate with them. They don't give them enough reason for men to believe for say we not really get money for pay them back, so they forgive all with debt. Sierra Leone not be get no single debt by the time where the SLPP hand over government back to the APC, right? Salon not get no more debt. So the SLPP hand over government back to the APC in 2007. Now in 2007, now the APC take over. When the APC take over, what happened? The first thing they say cocaine plane don't come on a Southern America. They don't can land na Lunge. And when this plane be the United Nations, they don't track this plane take can land. And when the plane land, APC minister in hand the plane in business, right? APC minister in hand the plane in business. So we all be hearing about that cocaine plane day. And then after that, you know, now things then prices then begin for go up. The rest of the way SLPP left for they sell 60,000 units, it don't go 100,000 units. Then it don't go 120,000. Then these prices they don't of commodities they don't begin to rise, right? But notwithstanding all of that, 2012 the people they still vote, even though plenty believe they for say that 2012 election will take place. My practices them be they rogue the SLPP, but still APC win. Where APC win in 2012, now what can happen in 2014 May. February now we begin hearing for say there is a strange disease when at the Ebola virus disease it don't burst na Guinea. Guinea na not just the next door neighbor to Sierra Leone. This virus don't burst na Guinea and that it can kill people then mysteriously. The Sierra Leone government will not see any move where they make for able for address that issue for may not come affect Sierra Leone, because every time salon people that they go to Guinea that they buy market and they can't sell in a salon. We'll not see which approach, which remedial strategies or measures where the government of Sierra Leone under the APC then take for contain that. Now we already say the sickness don't bust na Liberia back. That it don't cross over. So now it dey pass around we because Guinea dey pantap with Liberia dey now right. The only other side now where people they for go na the saltwater. So the sickness don't reach it. But even as that, the salon government under the APC not able for do anything for able for control that disease day na the borders of Sierra Leone, because the fundamental responsibility of every government now for save the lives and properties of the citizens. So go left sit down, the sickness they encroach on the Sierra Leoneans, then they do nothing, right? And so they're not able to do anything. The only thing when we see what they do was they make them small handbills, then they put an public places there for whether they explain, for say this sickness don't carry for what's and this that. But at the beginning they wonder only about 15% of the national populace go school up to secondary school level. Would that then they put them bills and they for how many people then go read that? How many people then go understand? So the education was not even enough for able for safeguard the people then. So at the end of the day, that Ebola disease they entered at the country, and then Sierra Leone became the epicenter of the disease, especially in Akenema. So now what can happen? The people then where they abroad, they're sorry for we, they send money in the country for many able for help we for level able for fight that disease day from killing our people. About $14 million of that money they go into oblivion. They will not know what to happen with that money. Even though the Auditor General of the country, somebody will get high respect for that lady, now the best, one of the best Sierra Leoneans, one of the patriotic Sierra Leoneans that they go because they do the job selflessly. It can report for say that money they about $14 million of that money where the people they're sorry for we send at the country. I say that money they don't lose. Right? The money don't lose. And so now, from where that magic happen, we're not hearing nothing again. Paso the president, the APC, they say they don't expel the vice president from the party. right? For men and distract you, so we'll not go begin to talk about that money there at all. For men and distract you, they say they don't expel the vice president from the party, and so now when they don't expel the vice president from the party, the president feels now it gets a good reason for even further distract the Sierra Leoneans away. In the middle of the Ebola crisis, now the president sacked the vice president. We all know what they talk about. That was a constitutional violation right there, because the president not get any right by himself for me to sack the vice president, but he began for Saka, right? So, and then we know say after all this gonna happen, we know say Freetown as a city is surrounded by mountains. We all know say that we don't do a study of that mountain way back in the 40s, where a mudslide of the nature where happened in 2017, they don't happen at that time. The British then bring geologists then go up to that mountain, then do a study and then come up with recommendations where government get access to their recommendations there. For say, they get for keep trees growing up in those mountains at all times. Because if trees they not grow up in that mountain, they where no tree no they the water they soak the dirty there. Because you see, I've been talking to an engineer who tell me the difference between the two soil, black dirty and red dirty. It's a red dirty they hold more water past the black dirty, and a red dirty now they up na that hill there. So the government not do anything, but you see, just now they will come begin talk say, oh, where APC, SLPP said been there, they not be do nothing. Anytime where APC they do something wrong, then they blame her on SLPP. But me don't know who say any kind of thing like that one they did. But anyway, so they're not able for advise and control the people then from building houses in those mountains or from going up in those mountains and cutting trees. And when people then grab them, they blame the people then. The people then, the Sierra Leonean authorities, the one that were in position of governance, they don't make the people they don't feel say, if you were in a village or where then other small cities, then if you come on other small cities, then you cannot Freetown. This like you are moving, now they everything there. You're not go able for left now you small city, you get waiting the one the way they Freetown they get. So you get for Candon and Freetown before you're able to get access to the national cake. So therefore, Freetown don't become overpopulated because of this reason. Now when people they all come up from upline and kind of Freetown, they don't get side for sleep, they don't get side for lay down. Now in them begin for go up now the mountain and they cut them ticket and they first sell them as firewood. Then they begin for build house up now that mountain there without paying attention to the hazards what will happen after that. And government self now they tell them what they for doing. In fact, that the government able to give permit to people that for make them build like inside and they. So at the end of the day, the one they waiting at that place there with their families and then they don't at next then they sleep, rain they come and the mudslide happen, it can kill up to about 800 people there. If not be a responsible government, therefore not able to take remedial measures for either minimize the impact of that mudslide or they not for don't even make them avoid the impact as a whole. But that's not happen. All right, and so let me take a real look at these two political parties. If they really follow the honest history of Sierra Leone, I'm not going to agree with people that way they try for compare SLPP to APC. SLPP and APC now two different political parties, the way they do things in the different opposite directions. Right? Anytime when APC take government in Sierra Leone, the country they go through series of problems. And when SLPP take over the governance, then they can't fix all the problems, just like how they explain. So how on earth anybody go try for compare or try for say then two political parties then similar? You know, salon people there. Now that's how we can do mistake. Because you see, no matter whether you want to form your own political party or whether you want to take a shot at the presidency of the country or you want to let your own political party then governance, but when you begin for distort history, you begin for misinform the people then you are not doing Sierra Leone justice. Because SLPP, by all indications, by all historical evidence, SLPP has always fixed problems in Sierra Leone, whereas APC has always created problems for Sierra Leone. So you cannot compare the two. You know? So we just want to bring that come to now. Of course, this is a Sheriff's Broadcast Network, and Mina Ibrahim Sharif, and we're glad that you're able to listen to this. If you get a chance, please disseminate this information. We thank you very much.